You know, laughter, it's a sound we all know, a feeling we're all chasing after. And it's totally universal, but have you ever really stopped to think about it? It's actually kind of mysterious. Like, why do we even do it? What is going on in our brains and our bodies when something just cracks us up? Well, that's exactly what we're going to dive into.
So let's start our journey with this really cool experiment. Way back in 2001, a researcher, Dr. Richard Wiseman, he set out on this amazing mission to scientifically find the world's funniest joke. He built a website called LaughLab, and after getting something like 40,000 jokes and over 1 million ratings, well, science had an answer.
All right, you ready for this? According to all that data, this is it. The world's funniest joke. 2 hunters are out in the woods when one of them collapses. He doesn't seem to be breathing and his eyes are glazed. The other guy whips out his phone and calls the emergency services. He gasps, "My friend is dead. What can I do?" The operator says, "Calm down. I can help. First, let's make sure he's dead." There's a silence. Then a gunshot is heard. Back on the phone, the guy says, "Okay, now what?" So, did you laugh? A little chuckle maybe? Or just a smile?
Look, whether you found that joke hilarious or not, it actually sets up our main question perfectly. It's not really about what is funny, but why anything is funny in the first place. What is the fundamental secret behind this weird and wonderful thing we humans do? To get to the bottom of it, we've got to start with what laughter physically is. I mean, it's not just some feeling, right? It's a full-on, full-body reaction. It's this automatic reflex that we start doing when we're only about 3 or 4 months old.
And we do it a lot more than you'd think. A pretty good estimate says that the average person laughs around 17 times every single day.
And every single one of those laughs is like a mini workout for your face. When you laugh, you're contracting 15 different facial muscles. The big one is called the zygomaticus major. That's the muscle that does all the heavy lifting, pulling up your lip into a smile.
And that's just the start of this wild chain reaction. As you laugh, your larynx kind of closes up, which makes your breathing all choppy and irregular. That's what causes that gasping ha 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 sound. Laugh hard enough, and you might even get your tear ducts going. But here's the best part. Your brain releases endorphins. Yep, the very same feel-good chemicals that give you a runner's high.
And this is exactly why that old saying, laughter is the best medicine, is actually rooted in science. Laughter literally reduces stress hormones, it decreases muscle tension, and it can even give your immune system a boost. I mean, it's really hard to be angry or sad when you're laughing, right? It's like hitting a biological reset button.
Okay, so we know what happens in our bodies, but when do we laugh? You're probably thinking, well, when I hear a good joke, obviously. But the science, it points to something way more surprising.
Now, this number is going to blow your mind. According to the research, you are 30 times more likely to laugh when you are with other people than when you are all by yourself. 30! That's a huge clue that laughter is doing a lot more than just responding to something funny. And here's the big takeaway from that. We've basically got it all backward. We tend to think laughter is the result of a joke, but a massive chunk of the time, it's actually a tool we use for communication. A researcher named Dr. Robert Provine spent years studying this, and he found that laughter is way less about the punchline and way more about the people you're with.
And this might be my favorite finding from his whole study. He recorded what people said right before they laughed, and 90% of the time, it wasn't a joke. It was just some boring everyday comment like, "I'll see you guys later," or "Are you sure?" or "I kid you not, does anyone have a rubber band?" It just proves that so often, laughter is a social signal. It's a way of saying, "Hey, I get you, we're connected, we're in this together." But of course, we do laugh at jokes. I mean, that's a thing. So if social bonding explains the when we laugh, what explains the what? Why does a certain combination of words, like that hunter joke, actually set off that physical reaction? Well, psychologists have a few really interesting theories. So the most popular idea is called the incongruity theory, and it basically says that humor is born from a mismatch, a gap, between what we expect to happen and what actually happens. The punchline makes our brain suddenly shift gears and see the whole situation in a new light. Here's a perfect, simple example of that. You hear police, and your brain immediately pictures a crime scene, right? You expect the sentence to end with resisting arrest, but then it hits you with arrest, and bam! The context instantly flips from a crime to a toddler's nap time. That sudden, surprising shift, that's the incongruity that makes you laugh.
But hold on, not all surprises are funny, are they? If you expect to get an A on a test and you get an F, that's definitely a surprise, but you're not exactly going to be laughing. And this is where the benign violation theory comes into play. It adds a really crucial piece to the puzzle. For something to be funny, it has to violate an expectation, but in a way that feels safe and harmless, non-threatening.
You know, this is the perfect formula for so much of modern humor, especially memes. Think about it. You see a meme format you recognize, and that sets up an expectation. Then, the caption completely flips that expectation on its head. But the violation is totally benign. It's just a picture online. Nobody gets hurt. And the result? You laugh. It's the benign violation theory playing out over and over and over again in our feeds.
All right, so let's pull all these different threads together. We've talked about the biology, the social side of things, and the psychology behind a good laugh. So what's the big picture here? The thing is, laughter isn't just one thing. It's this incredibly complex human behavior. It's a physical reflex that rewards us with feel-good chemicals. It's a super powerful social tool we use to build bonds with people. It's our brain's happy little reaction to a safe but surprising twist. And if you think about it from an evolutionary standpoint, it probably started as a way to signal that a fake fight was just for fun, not a real threat.
And that's really the thought I want to leave you with. The next time you find yourself laughing out loud, just take a second and think about it. Are you laughing at a perfectly crafted joke with a clever punchline? Or are you maybe just laughing because you're with people you like, sharing a moment, and making that connection even stronger? The answer, well, it just might surprise you.